JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, man facing firearm and robbery charges after Clarendon attack. 21-year-old Andrew Benton, otherwise called Q, of Gibbstown, Water Lane in Clarendon, is the answer to several charges in court after he allegedly opened a fire to a man at work in the parish on Friday, October 9. He has been charged with the offences of illegal possession of firearm, illegal possession of ammunition, robbery with aggravation, and wounding with intent. Official reports are that about 4:30 p.m., the complainant was at work when he was approached by two armed men who opened fire, hitting him. He was then taken to hospital where he was admitted in stable condition. The police said Benton was later accosted and pointed out in an identification parade on Saturday, October 17. His court date is to be finalized. Man charged with assault after failed robbery. One of two men have been arrested and charged with assault at common law after a failed robbery along Halfway Tree Road in St. Andrew on Wednesday, August 19. He has been identified as 23-year-old Travis Davis of John Street in the parish. He was also charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. The police said about 10:50 p.m. the complainants were having a conversation when two armed men pounced upon them and demanded money. A licensed firearm holder reportedly saw what was happening and opened fire, hitting Davis, who was then taken to a hospital where he was admitted under police guard. A Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol, along with 11 rounds of ammunition, was handed over to the police after the incident. The police said the accused was charged after a question and answer session. He is to answer to the charges in court at a later date. Teens charged in Hanover housebreaking. Two teen boys have been charged with various crimes after they allegedly broke into a house in Spanish Hill, Hanover, where it was said that they damaged and stole more than $2 million worth of items. The incident, which led to the teenagers being charged with housebreaking, larceny, and malicious destruction of property, happened sometime in August. Reports are that on Sunday, August 16, a caretaker securely locked up a house and left. However, on Saturday, August 29, about 8:50 a.m., the caretaker discovered that the house had been broken into. The police say it was also discovered that several items valued at approximately $2 million were damaged or stolen. An investigation was then launched, which later led to the arrest and charge of the teens. They are to appear in court at a later date.
Okay, so this is all who so them bad and I go at Aisha. This is what going on. You see that? This is all the traffic from Aisha and everybody going into that truck.
That truck.
And that truck. So look, people are lined up and are going to the truck. All who can hear, 3 o'clock.
Police report arrests, seizures, other successes in St. Catherine curfew enforcement. The police say 2 persons of interest were arrested and more than 300 individuals warned for breaches of the disaster risk management regulations in the St. Catherine South Division yesterday. According to the police, this was as a result of its increased enforcement operations in the division during the hours of the island-wide curfew. The curfew hours were pushed up for the National Heroes Day weekend, starting at 3 each day. The police said that between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., roadblocks were mounted on Hellshire Main Road, Kemenas Bay Road, Dyke Road, and Old Harbour Bay Main Road in the parish. The police were supported by the Jamaica Defence Force. The result of the operations are as follows. 443 vehicles were stopped. 156 vehicles searched. 300 vehicle documents were checked. 33 tickets were issued for breaches of the Road Traffic Act. 3 motor cars and a motorcycle were seized. 4 persons were detained, and 7 offensive weapons and a quarter-pound of ganja were seized. Those detained include 2 persons who will be questioned with regards to shooting investigations. Legislation coming to crack down on prisoners with cell phones. The government is moving to amend legislation governing the island's prison system to allow criminal charges to be levied against inmates found with contraband, with the heaviest punishment going to those found with communication devices. For years, there have been reports of prisoners continuing to operate their criminal enterprises from behind bars with cellular phones smuggled into even the maximum security institutions. But Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, Senator Matthew Samuda, says that is one loophole which will be plugged with amendments to the Archaic Corrections Act, which is desperately in need of modernization. The ministry will soon carry to the Cabinet for its approval the new act to govern the correctional services. We expect to have this tabled in Parliament for debate and subsequent approval in no longer than 3 months, said Samuda during a press briefing hosted by the Security Ministry. This will create a modern legal framework for us to operate within and will give the men and women who lead the correctional services the tools that they desperately need to ensure that they run the correctional services in a particular manner, declared Samuda, who added that every effort is being made to improve the facilities at the prisons. He noted that close to $50 million has already been spent to improve the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center's hospital block and the block which houses bedridden inmates. This would have come, though budgeted previously, it would have been prioritized as a result of early reports made by Indicom, said Samuda. In its first quarterly report for this year titled Detained at Pleasure, Institutionalized Human Rights Breaches, Indicom told the story of Noel Chambers, who was incarcerated at the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center in February 1980 after he was deemed unfit to plead to a murder charge. Chambers died in January of this year after spending 40 years behind bars without being tried. The report noted that at the time of his death, Chambers was in a deplorable physical condition. According to Samuda, some changes have already been made to the maximum security institution to prevent a repeat of the experiences of Chambers, but more needs to be done. The truth is, the prisons don't need a patch job, they need significant infrastructure development in a structured and a systematic manner. The government is clear that we will need a prison infirmary to adequately house those inmates who stay with us long enough to become infirm and need particular care. We are so very clear that we will need to move rapidly with the development of a forensic ward to deal with mentally challenged inmates. Conversations are already underway between the Ministry of National Security, the Ministry of Health, and the Ministry of Local Government, and we will keep you up to date, added Samuda. He said the nation will also be kept informed of discussions for a new prison, but that process has just started. Eyes on St. Catherine nursing homes. With the rising COVID-19 cases in the municipality, the St. Catherine Health Department is moving to carry out intensive COVID-19 testing of residents in the 14 nursing homes in Portmore to see whether they have been affected by the virus. Prior to this move, the department was largely concentrating on checking whether schools in the parish were ready for face-to-face classes, with 37 of 76 institutions inspected meeting the requirements under the stringent COVID-19 checklist. However, with increases in cases in Portmore, particularly in the Waterford area over the past month, the health department is shifting focus, with the elderly at high risk for adverse outcomes should they contract the virus. COVID-19 cases have doubled in St. Catherine over the past month, with 909 cases being recorded between March and September 11. As of Saturday, the parish had recorded an additional 937 cases, bringing the total to 1,846. The parish has also recorded 37 of the at least 171 deaths recorded across the island up to Saturday. We continue to monitor the schools that were deemed unsatisfactory, but since most of the schools have announced that they are curtailing in-person learning, we're able to concentrate on the nursing homes, St. Catherine's Chief Public Health Inspector, Grayson Hutchinson, disclosed recently. There are some 33 nursing homes in the parish, 14 of which are in Portmore, So far, we have tested residents for COVID-19 in 8 of them. Hutchinson declined to say what is the positivity or fatality rate in these nursing homes where testing have been carried out, instead calling for the homes to limit or discontinue visits. It is a view that outside visits to these susceptible institutions should be immediately put on hold for the time being. These visits should be significantly limited or forbidden, he said, expressing a sense of urgency. According to Hutchinson, family members and the friends of residents in these nursing homes should relay whatever items they have to deliver by way of members of staff. He called on managers and the staff of the homes to ensure all COVID-19 protocols are observed to reduce the likelihood of infecting vulnerable residents. 2 more deaths, 47 new cases of COVID-19. Jamaica has recorded 2 additional COVID-19 related deaths and 47 new cases of the virus in the last 24 hours. The country's death toll now stands at 173 and the number of positive cases at 8,321, of which 4,084 are active. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the deceased are a 65-year-old woman and a 57-year-old man, both from St. James. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the deceased are a 65-year-old woman and a 57-year-old man, both from St. James. The ministry also reported 2 more coincidental deaths. Of the 47 new cases, there were 20 males and 27 females, with ages ranging from 8 to 72 years. The cases were recorded in St. James, 21, St. Catherine, 17, Kingston and St. Andrew, 7, St. Elizabeth, 1, and Trelawney, 1. The country also recorded 92 recoveries, bringing the number of recoveries to 3,951. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.